To kick off our very first episode of It's Given podcast, we had to start with someone who truly embodies what this podcast is all about: intention, connection, and showing up for people in meaningful ways. Our guest today is Brendon Brathwaite, the founder of Buzz Concepts and the mind behind some of the Caribbean's most thoughtful, unifying corporate and lifestyle events. Brendon isn't just an event planner, he's a builder of safe spaces, someone who believes that community, healing, and purpose can and should exist in our work and personal lives. From team building retreats to high energy mixers, Brendon puts the heart and intention into every detail, and through it all, he's remained grounded, focused, and consistent, a trait that's rare and powerful in today's world. In this episode, we talk about what it means to create real connections, how to build better teams, and the journey behind it all. So let's take this time to welcome Brendon Brathwaite to our first episode of It's Given podcast. This one is going to be for the books. Brendon, hello, how are you? Finally, I mean, it took so long to get to you because you're so busy.
Yes,
all of you all are very busy people. As I say, all the people I know are amazing, but amazing people come with being busy. So we're going to jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to create Buzz Concepts?
Buzz Concepts wasn't necessarily like an inspiration. It was something that fell in my lap. It was an opportunity where somebody said, hey, could you do it? And I said, yes, I could do it. And by taking a leap of faith with a group of my friends, we just basically sparked a different level of corporate event planning where we were actually having more fun than the people who were at the event. And I think that is what made the whole difference, because for event planners to be doing something in which they would not necessarily get paid for, like if you were throwing a fun event for somebody, you don't even want to get paid. But then we turn it into a corporate function, and that's what. Yeah. I mean, pay some. I buy groceries.
No, but even if I have known you many years. I mean, you are one of the people who actually helped me with any event spaces. We worked many events together.
Long time. Yeah.
We had great times. We had horrible times. We had people we used to work with that we no longer work with again. It happens. It is what the industry is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I'll be like, was there a moment when you knew that team building and engagement was your calling and not really throwing a fit?
It is a weird thing because, again, you were dabbling many different things over the years. I remember we did Kes Soca Monarch when he won for What Less.
Yes.
We did a lot of different things like that in finding out who we are. And more we were gravitating right back to the foundation of novelty activities. Now, in doing novelty games, most of the companies we were doing wanted fun, but after a while they started to channel us and guide us into areas in which they could do problem solving. So that's generally what happened. So we started to use the same games that we were doing fun to solve problems. So if it was to build a bridge, it was now to build a bridge between the HR department and the marketing department.
Yeah.
You understand? So the activities then became functional, and then that whole evolution of team building was born.
Well, I know you lecture, so would you say that the companies actually taught you how to refine the business more? The model of what your events do, especially in that thing?
The companies helped because, again, they would always come with something new. Like we learn a lot from a lot of corporate executives guiding us and saying, do it this way. We want to focus on the values. We want to focus on the corporate objectives.
Yes.
So all the time, we would have to go back to the drawing board and bring something new. We want something new and refreshing. What are new things that you have this year? And so we had to evolve with the needs of the companies. And believe me, we had to, and we did.
I think you really evolve. I would say that I remember a time when you were trying to get more business and you posted, it was part of the content that you were showing. It's like, we need more companies, and then you all went on like these bouncy things into these people companies. I was like, what madness! Brendon is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And you're just bouncing. So did you all actually just bounce into these people companies?
We bounced right outside the companies.
And these people
bounced right outside the companies we wanted to work for. We had one of the companies that actually said, please do not post this on social media because we didn't get permission from our corporate.
And you bouncing in front of them.
And we bouncing in front of them.
Did they hire you after?
Yes, they did. Yes,
I love that.
Yes, they did. Most of the companies we actually engaged in that thing hired us. I remember one instance I was walking outside at Atlantic LNG, and I said I want to work for Atlantic LNG. 3 months to the day, I was doing an event for Atlantic LNG down in Point Fortin.
A personality. I think that you have like it's not. I wouldn't even say salesman. Anyway, is that you give people that kind of like energy. Like, trust me, this gonna work. It's gonna get people smile. I smiling with you. Your staff is gonna be smiling at the end of this. That's how I feel when I watch your work.
Is something in which you have to embody. You have to be the person who, when you walk in a room, make people smile and add energy.
Yes.
You could choose to do that when you wake up in the morning, and so therefore it actually transcends into the company as well.
Yes.
And to the people who want to work with and for you.
That brings me to my next thing. How do you define a strong team in a modern Caribbean workplace?
Boy.
Like, what is make the team strong? Because all these places that you work for, I mean, I could call it because it's not as you're not calling them. I know. I see you work with Massey. I see you work with Answer. I see you work with bigger companies like some banks and all of those.
Yeah.
But what? These are people that we will see as strong teams. I work in all these places because mixed did many hats, and I know that they have a bit of a toxic culture in many departments. It's not that the places are not toxic itself, but just generally people in themselves. But you have gotten these people to like literally like when I watch any events, it's like this is crazy.
I think it's some of the activities that we do help to really unlock and level the playing field so that the event in itself allow persons to be human.
Yeah.
So your manager, who is very strict on making sure that you're on time and that kind of thing, would now turn out to be the comedian on the day.
Yes.
Doing a karaoke segment that you never thought he could have done.
Exactly.
That gives that human element to that employee, that manager, and therefore the employee sees the manager in a different light, which in turn allow them to work together better.
Yes.
So that is generally it, where our role and responsibility is to come in for a moment and let people be human for the day and not be the robots that they want us to be.
And then
in
they
corporate.
don't even have to organize anything. They just have
No, they don't have to do nothing.
to. You have a full team.
Yeah, we are
Such a full team.
We full everything.
I used to do Brendon bars, and then he decided he making his own money with the bars because I wasn't cheap. But his clients were, when he had started that.
Yeah. So you're bar service.
No, but he did help me a lot when just me starting off my business. Like, you would employ me knowing that you can't even afford me, but you would pay me a lot of money to do certain things. But then your clients get a little head of like, we can cut on this, we can cut on this, and it is what it is, you know.
Mm.
But you were you've always included anybody that you know once you could.
Yeah, nice growth.
And then business is just business. There are certain things that you just can't do.
Yeah, growing people and working with people and helping the people. I honestly feel that everything around me must flourish. Everything, a plant, the neighbor cat, the neighbor dog, everything just must be growing. I feel like if I should have that golden touch. So if I touch it, it turns to gold.
And that's good.
And that's something in which
amazing.
I want to ensure that everything around me just growing.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, you give that energy, and the people that you hire also are all personalities in themselves. I'm realizing.
Oh yeah, they are.
I mean, you have something more. You have other girls, and then some of the guys, and then I mean, I be watching the content.
Characters.
Total characters, and they take total advantage of you all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So B, what are the common issues you see in Caribbean workspaces that actually holding these teams back?
Boy, so I've been doing jobs in Jamaica, team builders across there.
Sure.
Do team builders and sports days in Guyana, as well as a lot in Trinidad. The real common issue that all Caribbean people have is just management of people. People management, where the managers have to guide and also follow through with regards to what they say they're going to do. Again, sometimes managers operate like if they have this big stick and people have to follow through and you're condemning people. And a lot of times they don't have relationships that you're actually working with people. I think one of my most recent clients, which I can't mention, is now instituting things where they have a more human approach to problem solving, where they understand and they're making their company culture accept the fact that we are human and mistakes actually happen. So
I think I know that company is just by you saying it.
And with applying this approach, they are asking us to help them with this team builder, but it is along the lines of, hear this now, we are a company where we know the next level is with you, and we're not getting rid of you. We just want to work with you. We want to make sure that everybody work together. And if you like have an idea of a F1 race car pit crew,
Right.
everybody comes in, everybody jumps in, everybody know what their role and responsibility is, and the times that we do over the years seem to be getting more and more efficient.
Yes.
That is what companies want. But in reality, horse tread, this one doing that one job, this one gossiping about that one, this one vexed with this one, didn't drop them down the road after the work, this one only bringing sardines for lunch. Things,
Smelling up the plate.
yeah, it have small things that generally a Caribbean person that might create a bacchanal out of, that keeping people back from doing the core work, but also enjoying what they do.
Right.
Enjoying, because long time your work buddies was your family.
Yeah, I think actually it still is.
To some extent, but we're moving away because we're watching this American culture and assuming that I just come here to clock my card, you clock and you go. And you have a mango tree with 35 mango on it every day.
I
and you
know.
don't carry no mango and work for
Exactly.
people. Like that's what Caribbean people do.
Yeah.
Caribbean people build.
Yeah.
They're cool. They will invite you home by them.
Well, that what you just said there is true. Like Caribbean people are like that, but there is the change that's happening.
Yeah, where
Because I even posted on my story. I say individualism is actually taking over our lives,
Yeah.
and it's like so sad that what we trying to attain our success to is like being so
rigid
and
robotic.
and only about ourselves. And
Yeah.
forget everybody
Clinical.
else. I need to win. Forget everybody else.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
And from going back to what you said about managers, like how important to you, what you would say is like how important is emotional intelligence and empathy in leadership today?
Boy, it's such a thing in which, even when you're managing all the millennials, they in their emotions right through.
Yeah.
You can't just come and say, okay, I'm upset with you because of this. They would just fire the job and go home and say, nah, my boss was upset with me. So you now have to massage people's emotions and also be intact with yours. Because if you can't counter 20 if somebody says something, if you can't deal with your own personal issues before you approach your staff, you will jump out yourself.
Exactly.
Because some people just do madness. And you always want to say, hey, here it is now, go home. I tell my staff sometimes I feel to spin kick them in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, sir, I feel like I have to be violent. But the reality is, I have to be mature enough to manage my staff. And that is the same thing that a lot of times managers in the Caribbean settings do step away from, they say, walk away from the car and come back. Walk away from the situation, have the maturity to return with a solution versus just identifying what the problem is.
No, because a lot of people, I realized, when I was in corporate, a lot of managers used to bring their home issues into their job. So like,
Yeah.
if they're stressed, then the whole
Everybody feel it.
department stress.
Everybody feel
Because
it.
you stress,
You
not
could
everybody
tell.
feeling that stress. You not doing your manager work good because you are not guiding the team properly, and when it is you can't give your reports, then you stressing out the team crazy.
Yeah.
Some of those things some of that pressure did make the diamond that I became.
Right.
I wouldn't lie, but that is a problem that managers actually don't know how to manage.
Yeah.
In the
I think it starts with self-management. Self-management, where you become a better version of yourself. People get a job, high-paying job, and sit down there. They don't study a book. They don't read anything about management. They don't go to management courses. They don't want to come the team builder, much less host it. They don't want to mesh with their team, and they want to have a good functioning team. That making any sense?
Not a sense at all.
That's what I say. They say
And
the
that's why
maths
it comes to the importance of what you are bringing to these companies. Like, it's so important. And I hope that, it's something that, I work in the US for a while, and honestly, they don't look at that. They have the real big ones that will do it, and they are like the public companies because
Right.
they have to follow union standards.
Right.
But private, which a lot of them are,
No.
If they're studying you, no. Come to work, they look at them as
Clock and
replaceable.
go.
Replaceable.
And if you, just let me chime in one thing. If you remember primary school used to have a certain type of the day. The day used to finish at about 2:30.
2:30.
Let's watch the day. You reach there at 8 o'clock. You have your morning assembly. You go and you work in the morning, and then you had recess. What you used to do during recess?
Play.
Alone. Recess was the best thing
I
ever.
love recess.
Everybody love recess.
I take recess now.
Everybody
Because I
love recess.
myself.
And so therefore, if you were trained to enjoy recess, why in organizations we can have a little more recess?
They should have recess.
Why in organizations that are doing good, hard, productive work? Like, okay, let me give you an example. I did a task today with my team. I said, you all have 5 minutes. Use ChatGPT and create a budget. I said, starting now, Siri, give me 5 minutes. And they had to, I call it out and I had them competing against each other. Now, people might say, Brendon, that's work, but it's a game. And the competition brought out the skills from the two individuals, and we were able to gauge to see who had what and who didn't have the other. And then compare to say, okay, in the future, we have to use the same game mindset in the charts to make sure we are a little more efficient.
Exactly.
Cool vibes. So that's like my little recess with my team. And every time we get opportunity, we're going to do more of it.
Great, because, and that takes me to the next question. Like, what do you realize, even with your team, what changes you see from when you had now start to now where you are with your emotional intent? What changes do you see that when the team feels seen, when it feels safe, when they feel the team itself feels supported? Do you see like a change within how they operate, or their loyalty to the company and all those things?
But the evolution of managing my company started when I decided that I needed to be different.
Yes.
And I got a lot of a wake-up call during COVID with almost losing the company and losing the entire business and going into real estate, which we were a part of. And,
yes, you brought me into it.
Yeah, actually, yes.
You brought me into it.
And then...
Make a market. Make a market.
Plug that. And the thing is, when you had that opportunity to now get a second chance on growing your company, I had to dig deep and find my soul and find that if I needed to be a manager, I had to live it. I couldn't complain to one of my team members and say, hey, put on a belt, and I didn't have on a belt.
Exactly.
I couldn't complain and say, big man, make sure your shoe clean. Client watching to see, and I have a dirty shoe. So there was a lot of little things that I had to retrain and tell myself to become a role model for all the team members on my team. And also that allowed me to manage them better and hold them more accountable because I lived it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a change.
And then they now feel like a whole part of this movement rather than an employee. I am part of it, because I mean my cousin, something more, she just make it sound like you're this little family, and like, oh, I have to go on wholesale, I have to do that. Yeah.
I just treat them good, boy.
Yeah, you do.
And the thing is, you have to treat your staff good. I rate my staff, every one of them, because they help me to achieve my goal one. But I now turning around and saying, listen, I'm going to help you. So now I have to listen to who need help. As watch out, say, big that man need a new shoe. I go and buy a shoe for him. And then I catch myself the other day, I did that, right? I buy a shoe for one of my team members. And then I realized if I buy a shoe for him, I'd buy a shoe for this
Everybody.
one. And I say if I buy a shoe, I should buy a belt. Because the belt will match your shoe. And I say if I buy a belt, I should buy a watch. So I went down a spiral of shopping for the 4 members of my team.
Your emotions like, oh gosh, I can't.
You take one for one, and so downward spiral. Thousands of dollars spent just to make sure that one person who had a bad shoe benefited, and everybody
I think that
benefited.
works because now they all feel seen, safe, and supported.
That's what it does.
And I think that's what your company really tries to emulate with all the clients.
Right.
Like, make them feel seen, safe, and supported.
Yeah.
That we are people.
We would just like to thank the staff and owners of Nube in Val Park, Valsane, for letting us use their beautiful space. I mean, this whole place is always a vibe. It's always so beautiful, and it's one of the best spaces. We could have thought to start our podcast.
So, talk to us about the behind the scenes grind. What people don't see when building a brand like Buzz Concepts.
Buzz. They say event planning is like up there after civil aviation as one of the hardest jobs ever.
I cried.
Yeah?
I cried in it.
Yeah, events is make it sad.
Brand management and events is the only jobs that actually make me feel to like cry in my car a bit, and then I go out and be great.
Yeah,
I need to cry.
It is carried down to the ground. I remember years ago, I called one of my mentors, and I tell him, I said, if I knew this was so hard, why didn't tell me it was going to be so hard? I said, like, right now I want to sell this company.
Forget about it.
And he said, hush your tail, focus on what you need to do, and stop whining. You are in it because you could change the industry. Stay in it and do your work and change the industry. And again, that became my mantra. This is how I want to change. I have to change the industry and change corporate. And that's what seems to be happening.
I would say that not even a change. Like you have set the standard of what a corporate. If you're a corporate entity and you actually care about your staff and you really want real team building.
Yeah.
If you're not using buzz, I don't know what you're really doing. And I'm not trying to brag you up because you're my bro, but it's just that it's true. Where is it happening?
Yeah.
Who is the next company that's doing what you're doing?
A lot of people say that. And again, it's really not just games that you do with people. It's really trying to get to the heart of it. When you find the heart, what people leave within their minds. It's not just a token with a brand on and they put it in their car. It's about what the experience happened, what pictures, how you get people to know who never spoke to each other to give each other a high five.
Yeah.
How you get people to now go back into the office and give each other a high five, and you now make a high five. The simple task of doing this become a company-wide practice.
Yeah.
We've done that with companies before.
I think that kind of look corny, though. I understand what you mean because I know your brand, and like I could see you having people who really didn't get along. You put them in some kind of team, they win something together, and you're like, boy, we win that money, we win this. And it just and now it's your friend.
Good
Sharon,
vibes. Yeah,
Sharon was she nasty, man?
Yeah,
Damn a girl.
She's
I know.
She's still nasty.
Yeah, she's still nasty, man. But now I in it too. Like,
yeah.
So that would like the people, and it actually does help with wanting to go to work.
Breaking down walls.
People forget that I go in and go here every day, and this is every time I was interviewing for a job. I was like, the reason that I go back and forth so much on the contract, I am going to wake up every day of my life and care about your company.
Yeah.
My life is now your company. 80% of my life is your company.
Yeah.
So I need to really feel that I want to go somewhere that I want to go. I don't want to go somewhere. And this is why I leave many things. And it's not because of the people or the company or anything. I just feel, I don't like, this is not where I want to go when I wake up.
Yeah. And a lot of people.
Company need to realize you have to make the place somewhere people want to go when they wake up in the morning. If they don't want to go there when they wake up in the morning, you are not doing your job as their manager.
Or the employer.
Or the owner.
Yeah.
They didn't create a space where people want to go. They're feeling like,
they're feel
trapped.
Safe. Gotta feel safe.
The only time you're taking a vacation is because, like, okay, family are ready. You have to go and see about my next family.
Yeah.
And that's how you're supposed to feel. And I just think, and I mean, part of it really comes with you actually doing what you love to, but what the work that you're doing, and that's what brings me to this, because leaders just make that happen.
Right.
So, in your line of work, what have been some of your toughest leadership lessons? And I know you had plenty, and I know some we don't even talk about, because I saw you in conflict and stuff with past partners. So, I mean, obviously, you're not going to call any names. And leadership lessons would have been probably learned from other people making it in front of your face, and you're like,
all the time,
I'm not going to be that leader.
All the time. You have to, I have to treat people like how I want to be treated. That's one. That's a very basic thing, right? And I mean, that we might say that's a cliche, but the reality is that you have to do that. One. The next thing is money. There's always be the reason why people go separate ways. You see the money factor? People just use money to break and build. And I tend to watch it as something to say, hey, here is now. I'm not going to let money be a determining factor in anything I do. It is not about the money. Yes, I want it, but that means I need it in order to lose a relationship. I prefer all my communication to build, all my approaches to this. Either I don't want to be in this situation, but I'm not going to choose the two and tiptoe the line. It's either I want to work with you or I don't want to work with you. And if I don't want to work with you, I would say that and go the other way. So being very strong in personality, being very strong in who you are, telling yourself and not, as a leader, not lying to yourself. You know, you say, boy, I know I'm not supposed to go online with Sharon now. Because your wife and Sharon don't talk.
For Sharon.
Yeah, that's what we use Sharon. Sharon get licked this whole. But the point is, you do it still.
Yeah.
And you know that in itself could cause a ripple effect with regards to your integrity in the organization.
Exactly.
These are the things that, again, working with people, money management and money conversations. You see, there's difficult conversations. A lot of managers don't have difficult conversations with their staff and with people. So talking to people saying, hey, you know what, I feel this situation could cause a conflict of interest. They don't have that conversation.
I would say in two or the major companies I work in, they do have it.
Yeah.
They do have it, but also they're very real, and I will always big them up. I mean, Amco and Hardco. I never felt like I was some kind of employee there.
Right, they treat you real good.
No, no. I mean, they treat you like how they're supposed to treat you
Right,
as the employee, but they made me a man, and
Right.
they made me know that I know I could do this.
Okay.
I knew I could do what to do because they were a little rough at times. But the thing is, they will talk. You could talk. I
Yeah.
could say what I want. I could go and say, "Fuck this.
Right.
I don't like this.
Mm.
I really don't like what happening here."
Mm.
And I never felt the job. I never felt like my job would be threatened. But they had other companies which I wouldn't call. I know if I say it,
Problems.
you was the worst person in the world
Yeah.
because I just speak in my life.
Yeah.
And that's why even on LinkedIn I actually bigged them up. I was like saying, at least you could be who you are.
Right.
Your job is never threatened by you going through a real life
Situation.
life. Like you go
Yeah.
through life because they know you are living your life in their company and they try their best. They really do try their best to make sure and understand that about people.
Yeah.
Not every employee has the same experience, I'm guessing, but with me, I would say, because I am Oprah Winfrey, you know, like my degree, I had to give people my transcript because I start my business and then you tell me, well, you have to come to school next year because of these two subjects you didn't do. And because of how UE schedule, you know how school
Yeah.
is, it's only available in this term. And then
Yeah.
and I was like, so I have to stay here and come and do this. And I said, no. And I just, 12 credit short, I just didn't do it. And it didn't matter to me because Hardco took a chance on me.
Right.
And then Amco, and Hardco taught me
Right.
really well.
Right.
And then Amco took what Hardco taught me, and then they taught me even more. And then they introduced me to Jamaicans. And if you ever worked with Jamaicans, which you did,
Yeah.
oh, they're going to teach you even more.
Real thing.
And now, and I became excellent in what I do. And nobody could take that away from me. And anybody who say I'm lying.
Right.
But
Right.
I know I come excellent in what I do. But did I want to do that anymore? Not specifically.
Yeah.
No. I had other things. And because those companies actually give me real confidence in myself because I see what I create. I saw the numbers when I came in. I see the numbers
when you
after my
left.
work, and nothing can lie about numbers.
Right.
So you can say what you want about me. I was a big part of this happening, and that's what happened. So, aside to say that, all these things we're doing, how do you stay grounded while balancing your creativity, your management, and your personal life? Because right now it sounds like you're doing 5 million things and
Just
you
work.
managing
Just
all
feel
your
like
people. So what about all that? How you balance all this?
Again, some people say that balance is important, right? They say, yeah, it's supposed to have more balance. But they have seasons of balance. I mean, some people have, I play the long road. I've been doing this for 19 years to gain success and financial freedom. I probably have another 4 years again of hard grinding work before I can realize and have
How old are you now?
I'm now 46.
You 46?
Yeah, so in 4 years
I didn't even know you older than me like that.
Yeah.
I already thought that you're more in your later 30s.
Nah, I just look that way.
No,
that's
because look
okay.
at your energy. You start back. I was watching you start that song. I didn't see. I was like, oh, he start back.
Yeah, good.
And then after some months, it's like, the shit, I'm not in gym no more because you work it right through.
Yeah.
But then you start back. You always try to maintain that.
Nah, it's
that
important.
health
The thing is, for the balance, at least for me, I think gym is my safe space.
Yeah.
No one calls your phone between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. just like that, unless they have an emergency. So that's my safe space. Other than that, my phone is always open for calls. So I work all the time, every time. My ideal day starts at 4, finishes at 10 p.m. every day.
You have a big daughter,
Yes.
right? So, and y'all, how is that relationship with the
works-
oldest you do?
She works in the company.
She in the company.
Yeah.
Oh God. Isabella, if you ever see this episode, come on, look at daddy. Come on, be a real estate person. Come and talk to people. Come on.
She works in the company and is a major part of what I do daily. Again, she has to navigate her own space.
Of course.
And I can't force her into everything. But just having her around, it's like
You're
a
lucky
blessing.
man
boy.
for that.
That's a blessing.
Very
Boy. One of the greatest blessings
Very
I ever get,
lucky,
you know,
yeah.
with having her work with me.
And I love that. So I think that your balance actually comes by you just integrate. And that when it comes to doing what you actually want to do for your life. Because I like how I go back to what you said about money, right? Yeah, we all probably started what we wanted to start and wanted that money, right? But right now I reached a point where I actually meeting with people and things that and endeavors I taken on for I'll say you give me this. Because I want to do this. I know why I taken you on.
Yeah.
I know why I partnering with you. It's not about I mean, I need to get money. I need
Yeah.
to come out of here. I
Yeah.
need to come out of the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, that costs money. But everything is now a plan. It's more structured and much more mature than when I was.
Yeah.
So the structure is just better. And
Self-fulfilling.
it's self-fulfilling. And yes, you get money. And you know how good it is to actually go and do something that you want to do. And somebody has money. You got real good.
Yeah, you can't lose
Yeah.
it. You can't lose.
So that is excellent. So Brendon,
Mm-hmm.
you did everything from team retreats to large-scale corporate events. What makes a good experience stick?
Boy, it starts, again, everyone will tell you it starts from even the invitation. But it also starts from the management deciding what the true objective of the event
Management just keeps coming back up again.
is.
Management is like a big thing.
Yeah. Because people want to lead, but sometimes they're not sure. What is the objective? Why you want to do this event?
Yes.
Who you really want to impact? What is something that we're going to measure at the end of the event? What is your return on your investment? Those are some of the questions that companies have to ask long before they even get the budget approved to do it. Now, when they do that, they are to say, okay, we have to start with the invite. But should the invite just be a simple invite on your computer screen, or should it be experiential? Should be, like I remember years ago, we did the Ministry of Tourism, and they did, what was the name? The team was Galaxy. And we had Moonwalkers versus the Saturnites and all these different things as the games, team names now.
Yeah.
But we get Darth Vader to walk inside the office and threaten the staff to come. So he walk and say, I am your father. Come to the family day this weekend. That's a whole different experience.
I am coming if that happens.
That's a whole different experience from a flyer or from an email.
Or from the board, the
Or a board in the lunchroom. And so when you are
it's
able,
mandatory. I hate
when you do,
mandatory. I hate
when
that.
you do things like that, you speak volumes of in what you're doing and the love you want people to actually, like the excitement you really want people to have to attend this event.
So you're giving them like a life, something happening.
We call it experiential, and it changes the whole nature of what people do. Experiential.
Experiential.
Yeah.
So experiential.
Yeah, it's a mini marketing campaign to get people excited about it.
I love
Now,
that.
for us too, after that segment, now you have to engage them. So you do it similar to what parties do, the day countdown, 1, 2, 3, 4 days towards the event. But for us, we also meet with like team captains and meet with the company and give them a indication of what will happen, giving them the tools to market. Because most of the time, if you want a market event in corporate, if you tell the cleaner is somebody who talks to everybody, the cleaner will tell everybody, you know. So you can't just only use the formal lines of communication, you have to use some of the informal lines. Sometimes you might just want to crinkle up a paper with the invitation and put it on somebody there so you know the talk the most. And let them open it up and say, hey, you know this thing happening? I see this. And let them spread the rumor, but use the informal line to get the message out.
I love that. He's like, watch and see how
She is the one who goes
Sharon has been talking. Watch and
Sharon again. Sharon, open it up.
want to tell everyone.
Everybody. We've also done marketing campaigns in corporate as if it was a fet. You know, you go to the car, you go back to your car, and you see the invitation shoving by your window, and or they say, you know, come to this party.
Yes, of course.
We've done that in corporate as well. So you had a normal day, and in the evening when you go to your car, you see an invite saying, come to the event.
Thing.
So you change the dynamic of the marketing, and so you set the tone from the onset to get people excited to attend the event.
Yes.
Now, when you get them there, you have to consider the experience from the shuttle, the entrance. What you give them is welcome drinks, according to what you guys would do, from welcome drinks to engagements, like, you know, these new grass walls where you're putting glove hand people's
when I think Angus Stewart did that.
Yeah.
For where I was working with Reeve, and that was the thing.
Yeah, that was what
Angus Stewart and Massey actually did the same thing.
Yeah. And so you ring a bell, somebody did something. A lot of different engagements could be done. A lot of different things you could do to engage people, yes? But it's still, you have to now walk the experience as the manager from the shuttle to the entrance to the activities to the sequencing of the activities to get people heart. That's what we have to start reaching to, talking to people heart.
Yeah.
What they're going to leave with, what messages you really want to say. Because you might say, let's have the entertainment early, but the entertainment probably should be the last person.
Yeah, let me take a little something, let me eat.
And so now you massage that program to get to the heartstrings, you win.
So basically, what you do is that you act like if I go into something, from as I get out my car, I care about where we go. Like the shuttle, like they have events I went that do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say CIC is one of them. They do those things.
Yeah.
And probably many events that you worked on.
Yeah.
Right. But that's amazing. So, and that would now bring me to the next thing. So, how do events become more than just a fun moment and actually shift workplace culture? Because I mean, what you're very strong in is changing workplace culture.
Yeah.
So how does it become like? I know it's fun, but how does it become more than just the fun that you're doing? What does it? How does it actually shift it?
When companies identify what their true values are, if they really, and again, some companies have it on paper and have it up on a wall, but they don't live it.
Exactly. Oh.
So some people speaking to the choir here, boy.
Exactly.
They have it on the wall, and some people don't even know the company watchwords. They know what the company goal is. How do you now put up a goal, and maybe a goal should be changed, maybe a goal should be shorter, maybe it's something that people should know, versus giving them this long scroll
to be the best.
By the time you reach 2 lines, nobody know.
Somebody see you, don't even know.
So how do you get people involved by having these events at certain segments throughout the year and reinforcing those values so that it now becomes a spike in values and go back to work, but another spike. And over time, companies get it. They actually do. But you can't not engage. You can't not engage in the client and your staff engagement and feel that, oh, Friday wear jeans to work. By wearing jeans to work, that means all of a sudden that's a work-life balance.
Oh, no.
This department don't work together. They have an issue. Managers know this. They don't have them work together and have a team builder.
Wear jeans though.
But wear jeans on Friday. and you know, once a year you can bring your child to work.
Yeah.
And that's work-life balance. You have to stop that because these things don't work. If you talk about true mental health and good environment, you have to get deep with your staff and actually spend money. Spend money. That's what companies need to do. Spend their money. Because I have a small company. I just spend my money. I'd be like, yo,
the staff is what make the company anything is going to be.
You have to spend the money. You're making the money and you're keeping it for yourself. And then your staff disgruntled. And you know they're disgruntled.
Yeah, they can't see the way.
Spend your money. Treat your staff good.
It don't feel good.
Yeah.
Give them memorable experience.
Yeah.
From Tuesday to Sunday is Extreme Vibes in Noob Nueve, Val Park. You must check this place out. It's such a vibe. It's such a beautiful space. It really just takes you into a whole different feel. So thank you so much again for letting us use your space.
So Brendon,
I know where you're going.
I recently released a book which has sent me like more or less the book and the whole thing of the book. I would never release a book like this because I don't know, I just not as grown as you. I don't want you give like every single you give everything that you do, you telling everybody from start to finish how to do an event, how to do a corporate, how to become you. Congrats on the book, but what inspired you to just give out all your secrets and do this book?
I sell out, boy. I sell out the industry, and the reason being is because I had so much growing pains to reach this level. It was so hard. There were and the gatekeepers. You can't just run up by somebody and say, "Hey, tell me what to do next." There was no text in the entire Caribbean guiding us on how we could do our type of events.
Because people were just saying you're trying to take more clients.
And it's simple things, like gauging how much people should be in a fete and how you manage the square footage. Simple things like that.
The book is amazing.
No one tells you that. When you consider how to cater for the differently able, do we cater for the differently able?
We do.
Things like that is what is in this text.
That's the things I realized. I was like, wow.
None of these things are covered in any text or any book. And even if you read the Americans Disability Act, they have no formal act guiding event planners or anybody who now enter in the industry to know about these things. Now, your auntie who to do birthday parties real good, how is she going to upskill?
Right.
She have to read a text. She have to get the information from some source. I have put a lot of work into this text
I can
to
see
ensure that auntie could turn into super auntie, because auntie know that it's not only about having the lighter to light the candles, but also a level of risk management to know that, listen, make sure that table not shaky, you know, or make sure that the cake comes on time, or make sure that everything is in sequence based on a program. But auntie never had a program before. So these are the kind of things that I'm putting into this text to make the average producer or planner or novice or even somebody who's skilled to add different levels of skills to their execution.
What I love about that book is that you're giving people who probably don't have the money to go and learn formal education a chance to actually do this.
Yeah.
Because somebody might be real good, but you will actually, that book is the teacher that they need.
Yeah.
And remember, in this day and age, degrees are like scoffed on. Like, you
gotta have
don't
the
even
skills.
hire a degree.
You have to have a
So
skill.
if it is, what I would suggest to you with this book is like, you should make it like, I wouldn't say do a podcast if you don't want to do that, but at least have a video of you reading the book and explaining what, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have to
gotta do work.
understand, in our industry also, not everybody is the big readers and all those things.
Yeah.
So if it is not going to take in all that, I know that there's an audio
Coming
version
out,
coming
yeah.
out of it also.
Yeah.
I will post it up for you guys to see where to get it and how it looks and all that. But it's, as I said, I would never, I wouldn't give away. It's like me telling everybody, this is how you sell a house, and let me tell you from start to finish, which I kind of do, but not all.
No.
I'd be
you can't,
like,
you can't give away all the
no,
tricks and the
no.
trade. Nah, I give it all. I give it all.
I love that.
And the thing is, you could only, the industry gotta get better though.
So, by giving away, like, what is one of the main messages or the takeaways that you hope that your readers walk away with from reading this book?
One, first of all, events are hard, event businesses are hard. So I'm now trying to make it a little easier for everybody who jump inside of this, right? No, the takeaway is upskill. The takeaway is get better. The takeaway is use this as a medium to even become the greatest. Trinidad and the Caribbean, and as a wide thing, produces global events. We should be a lot more confident in what we do and know that people should learn a lot from us. Because what we do, our energy, the type of events we produce are global.
Yeah.
Are global.
I mean,
It's templates.
definitely.
Now people want our templates because our templates add energy. Things are not
you
boring.
created the template for corporate events. I would say.
Yeah, I have a lot of
I will give the soca people, the team, the spirit team.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I was actually thinking to play in their band next year is because how well they execute soca.
Yeah.
I remember I used to walk through soca, and I have a cooler, and I literally ate, and I full, and I more or less drunk before I even reached any place. Because they had that.
A lot of chaos before you enter. And
they did miss some parts, obviously, which obviously if they probably work with you would just now make that event like even premium as hell. But they do really well with it, and I love how it is they really stick with the culture and stuff of it too.
Yeah.
And these are all concepts that in your book, like, you tell people, you know, what to be considering when it is you're doing certain type of events.
Not only that, I think this is because it's the first of its kind for the Caribbean. It has a glossary of different types of Caribbean events, from Junkanoo to regattas.
Yes.
That's talking about Caribbean specific events. These definitions have not been put in us one single place.
No.
And so everybody know about it. But what really is a blocko? What really is what really is when you party ram? Those types of definitions that we never had before are placed in this text to get people in a whole different mindset to talk about our type of
Are you
event.
still part of the Blocko chain? The Blocko
With room?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's something.
All right. But the thing is, I mean, I would say when you all were doing it together, you actually did throw a Blocko.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a thing I wouldn't miss.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel to go to a fete.
Yeah.
But it was a Blocko.
Yeah, once I pull up.
When I went there, I was like, this is all freaking Brendon. He's like, Blocko it should be a Blocko.
Yeah.
And it was a Blocko. I went and it was Blocko.
When you talk to Rome, you'll see. You get the full dynamic story of how
I mean,
it was.
I know both of your minds, especially. I mean, we all were part of the same team at one point anyway, so I know how the minds work. And of course, with politics and logistics, things change and teams change, crowds change.
Yeah.
But when it was in its heyday,
boy, really good.
Blocko was Blocko. You probably didn't make $1 on it, but
I make $1. I make $1.
I mean, from what I was seeing, I was like, I mean, the ticket was cheap.
Yeah.
You know, we bring in our own drinks. I ain't know how. I was like, oh, but that's for you to know. I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I just know that I had a time in it.
All the time.
Right? And so how does the book now, let's go back to the book. How does the book tie into your mission and your work with Buzz Concepts?
Okay, well, what I named the book is, it is Event Planning in the Caribbean. And from that, I got the acronym EPIC.
EPIC is the name of the book.
Right?
The book is EPIC. The name
It
is
is
EPIC.
right? And it ties in because a lot of times that's what clients want. Years ago, I did a bank, and the bank wanted to do a drone shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the drone shot was for their new corporate values was the letters EPIC.
Right.
And we had Marshall Montano song, of course.
Of course.
And
before when you said it, I was thinking in my head,
thinking
EPIC.
Marshall Montano song. People forming this big drone shot with over 1,000 people forming the EPIC. I was like, since that song and that experience, I've been always thinking about how things have to be epic. Things have to be over the top. How could you not take a tool to help you take your things over the top?
And it's not hard to do it, you know. The thing is, you doing it.
Yeah.
So if I am a company or I am a leader of a group what is to give you some thousands of dollars? I know it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the productivity you're going to get out of those people.
You need it to work with experienced people who've been able to produce. Listen, producing over 1,000 events. We produce 150 events a year.
Craziness.
That level of production comes with experience. And so I put a lot of that experience into this text.
It's an amazing text. So where can people get it?
It's going to be on Amazon. Well, right now it's going to be on. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but so this is very timely. It is going to be on Amazon in probably a week time. The hard copy, I will have it in hand in about 2 weeks time. So
yeah, so I got a little preview to the text for it, and that's why I know it's so good. But I just wouldn't. It's like you literally tell everybody, this is how my business is run, and this is how I am epic. So if you want to do it, to come and do it.
Yeah.
But then again, at the end of the day, you really have to want to do that.
You have to want to help people.
As much as the book is great.
But remember, you said lecture.
Yes, as I say, as much as the book is great, there is nobody is going to tell you about what you're going to go through in that event.
You have to get the experience.
That anxiety, that's fear,
the money, the issues,
sabotage.
God.
What the hell are you going to do with?
We live through this madness.
These people pay me $100,000 down. I don't know what you're going to do. And that happens. It happens more than you think.
Yeah.
But I mean, you never show the clients it. I mean, behind the scenes, I know.
No, nobody needs to know the drama. You just have to just accept it and move on and make things happen.
All right. So, your book is great. You've been doing the work. I mean, this conversation is great. So that's why I did this podcast. And why I started this podcast is because I actually doing work. I'm doing broadcasting work right now. I'm trying to get myself. I am no interviewer. I am no broadcaster. So I'm working with Nigel Nicholson from Star, and he is teaching me well. But from there, I'm meeting, and I researching, and I see in all these different podcasts I try that
the local ones.
We have one or two that very serious. That nobody is going to watch too much because I don't know. Even if it is they had 400 likes, no, we went too far left.
Right.
And then after it have total mess.
Right.
Total crap of
gladness.
Yes, man. Which cool, they have spaces to both. But I believe that when you're looking in the whole picture of what is the Caribbean putting out, as when people think, well, the Caribbean put all this, like the only time that we get popular is if it's a man dressed up like a woman,
somebody dancing, or some kind of gladness,
or it's like some kind of comedic thing or something that is funny or entertaining, which is good. I mean, entertainment is nice, but I like it makes people think that we do have.
And then move away from people who live in under a coconut tree.
Yes, exactly.
And then move away from
that. So that's why I think that these spaces matter. So, for my last question to you, with all the work that you're doing, especially with these companies and all these young professionals and old professionals and CEOs you're working with, what is your hope for the future of young professionals and entrepreneurs in the Caribbean?
Our role has to be grounded in CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Corporate civil social responsibility.
What you have to be at the heartbeat of that. Why make money if you're not going to help out the society? Why make it? Why just run down so that you could build a big wall and live in our gated community? Is that the heartbeat of all of this?
As you say, there was a fault to that.
The real thing is, how do we use the tools, the skills, and all the knowledge we've gained over all these years and change our Caribbean society? So I see in things as in having events to help with hurricane relief. That's my kind of thinking. Having events that could generate money and that kind, so that we're not waiting till it happened to now form a relief thing. That's the type of things I want to be involved in. I want to do nation building events where we know the anniversary happening. We know when it is. We know when the anniversary is. We know when it's independence and we know when it's republic. I want us to start planning those things in January.
Love it.
Versus 2 man come and throw up a bunting, make sure so that when we have our national events, they be grand.
And
because of great celebration.
Not you my pause raise there, because imagine and you do it Independence Day.
But you're planning early.
Imagine
because you have everybody.
And theological now, I mean, if this guy could give him Independence Day, like, no, imagine if you were in charge of Independence Day and with a big budget. I can imagine how, when we just driving down to Port of Spain, how we will feel. Because to you, I already know that Brendon gonna have to drive down to Port of Spain. Have to be an experience in itself.
Yeah, everything had to be experienced.
And it should be.
And so when what happening now is that there's this idea that someone could plan and execute things in 3 weeks.
Never.
And no one is given the level of respect that is needed for a properly planned event, which is years in advance.
For big nation-wide events like that, yes.
And so therefore, those are, when you talk about what's the big idea, those are the big ideas. Huge ideas. Planning and long-term planning. Committees, things that talking and having private business be involved. Let people have a competition with private businesses. What did the design on the building look like? So that it's not necessarily an afterthought, so that our nation actually builds.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have nothing to do with politics. It have to do with just people saying, you know what, I want to use my skill set to upgrade Trinidad and Tobago and, by extension, the wider Caribbean.
And I will always go back to this. When my dad was in his, when he left the union and then he got a ministerial position within the last government and the first term, the first term when they went back, we had you always have a sit down with the president. I believe, so we had a sit down with the president at the time then, and he literally said the same thing as you. He's like, imagine, because honestly, from what I didn't even know this, the president was telling me and that the party in power actually kind of guides the president of this is the decision we want you to make.
Right.
And he just used to say, you're spending so much money on these little groups of people that you're like. So, but Trinidad have so much people that could do these things for cheaper and so much more grand, because the money. And then he told me, and this was his words, and I'm not going to call his name. I mean, if it is, they could track it back. They think I don't want. But he told me, he said, they told me, this is what the president told me. He said, they told me the last party do this project for this amount, and we doing it for 200,000 less. So you have to approve it. Yeah. It wasn't about the quality of it. It wasn't about that a normal citizen could do this at a much better price and a much grander affair. And he was keep telling them that, and they were like, no, this person doing it.
Approve it.
And we're doing it at you have to approve it. Yeah. And of course, the president's hands are tied. The president is not the boss of our islands. And it's sad. So I really hope with the change of what's happening in our government and politics with all these women in charge, I really do hope that we see people utilizing the talent that we have that is not politically agendaed.
Right.
And
that was nice.
Because Trinidad itself is basically filled with so much talented people. I worked in New York. The people who these people care about and love and will spend so much money on
is us.
It's Caribbean people.
It's us. We have the energy.
They say that American. They're like,
they don't like that. They don't like their own culture, but they want our culture.
But they love us, and they love us to the point where I actually have our job offers that I can't take right now because of family issues. And just because of our work ethic and the passion that we put into the work, and The whole of Trinidad full with that. And I don't know why people not seeing
every
that.
pocket. We have
And the
great
problem is
people.
when you go on the phone, what is being shown and I think is total shit.
Yeah.
So like some man getting horn and the woman and him.
Yeah. And
that
everybody
is what-
commenting on it.
and that's what is being popular. And the thing is, Trinidad actually have much more smarter people than many other countries.
Yep.
And we're not even being highlighted at all. So that's why I did the podcast. And this is why I'm going to continue doing the
Congratulations on this
because
podcast.
people like y'all are amazing people. You're supposed to get the bonus. When I went to St. Kitts and Nevis, these in Trinidad, we end it off like this.
And they come
in
back.
the visions, and then they gotta get the bonus. And I learn it like that now. So now everybody gotta get the bonus because St. Kitts and Nevis. So thank you so much, Brendon, for coming
No,
out.
thank you for having
You have
me.
like made this. It's so good to see what we have to offer, and now you're sharing your books, and now people
Yeah,
will have
boy.
it. So you're gonna have contenders because these kids coming out of UE.
I excited. I want them to.
They're not
No,
gonna
let
let
them
you.
come
They're smelling you. They already hear all the
want
business you
to.
have and thing. So
They
they're
want
gonna
to.
watch your book, put your book in an ear and say, make my thing with this and this, and then they're gonna come with fresh ideas,
Which is fair.
which is fun.
That's gonna carry the level of the event
But
industry
because
higher.
of your characters, I see, and I like to call it a cast. You have a cast of people
Yeah.
that you have not workers, you have a cast, and I believe that they're gonna carry the flag for you
So
eventually.
my people is the best people. I can't deny them.
I love
They
that.
really have helped me to be the next level, and I love it.
You're doing great work.
Thank you very much,
I
boss.
appreciate you in this space.
Blessings.
Niceness.